man. I'll see you in the morning.
Later, dude. Appreciate it.
You got it. That is my guy. Yes, sir. By the way, we're going to talk after we do some ball here. Howard had Charles Barkley. If you've missed that thing, man, that was a lengthy and great conversation. And you could tell those two dudes know each other very well. And Barkley doesn't really do a lot of interviews. He has handpicked dudes. And, you know, he'll be open with guys like Dan Patrick and guys like Howard Eskin. And I don't know if he's going to be open with guys like Angelo Cataldi, man. Because Angelo, I told him, I go, yeah, no, man. Me and Howard building up a little relationship here. And he's like, okay. So he's on tomorrow here. And we'll do that with him. But without further ado, I got to ask him, this A.J. Brown story, it's absolutely polarizing all around the NFL. Every single show, every single topic in Philadelphia, every single, like Kay Adams is even talking about it. Does A.J. want out of here because of the quarterback, the head coach? Does he want out of here because of the offense? And the offense is the quarterback. What's Howard Eskin going to say? Let's do that next. We bring him in here now. Howard, how you doing, man?
I'm just great. I am just absolutely sensational. You know,
already shaking your head.
I'm already going to say, you know, you get caught up in all this bullshit. It's what it is. It's bullshit. Who said, and I'm not going to defend A.J. Brown for when he went off last year, but who said that he wants out? Who said it? Who said it?
He hasn't said it.
Okay, he hasn't said it. But everybody, you know, WIP is a waste of time right now because it's the same bullshit all day long. And there's really, the Sixers are like, who gives a damn? The Phillies, they're not into the baseball season yet because spring training doesn't generate a lot of interest because the numbers are bogus. And now with the World Baseball Classic, a lot of the players aren't going to be there for a couple of weeks anyway. So the only thing to talk about is the Eagles. So what do you talk about with the Eagles? I mean, they started talking, somebody told me, and I knew they would. Now they're using my lineup that I gave them 2 years ago. But it's not a lot of interest right now. So what are they going to talk about? The Eagles. Yeah, okay, what's the big topic with the Eagles? What's the big topic?
It's AJ, but Nick Sirianni was asked point blank at the combines about his return. He goes, I cannot guarantee he's back.
Okay, and you know why he says that?
Because the player wants out.
No. You just try to generate. You're just. I mean, for a change, he's honest. I can't. If somebody came to the Eagles and said, "I'm going to give you this, this, and this for Jalen Hurts," and it was like overwhelming, and Howie Roseman said that. Howie plays both sides of the fence here too. AJ Brown's a great player. We love AJ Brown, but okay, all right, Howie. Stop drooling. All right. I'm going to listen. So on the other side, but you have to listen. That's what you do. Let's say somebody, and this is never going to happen. Let's say somebody came to the Eagles and say, we're going to give you 3 first-round picks for Jalen Hurts. They don't have another quarterback. Do you think they trade him? Absolutely. But nobody's going to offer you that. So you listen because somebody out there might be brain dead. Somebody out there in the NFL, there's always somebody dumber than the other dumb guy. And I'm not saying the Eagles are not. The Eagles are pretty sharp. But there's always somebody out there that's stupid that's saying, oh, I'm going to change this around. So here, let's break down the reality of this thing. Obviously, Howie has not gotten the offers that he wants to get before trading A.J. Brown. A.J. has said nothing because, I mean, he wants to play.
Told him to stop talking. That's why, and stop acting like a tool.
Wait a minute. Is that stop players before?
Wait a second. No. But I agree with that. Okay. But I'll say here, Howard, you think his actions, reading books on the sideline, the way that these cryptic
this is bullshit too. All right, reading a book. He read a prayer book once. We saw it on camera once.
How many times have you ever seen covering the NFL in your life? Never.
Okay. because I don't watch everything. I mean, I saw him when I was down there. It's like, okay, I think he wants to calm himself down. The one thing that he always did well, he never went up to the court. Like some players will go up to the quarterback and get in their face. Some players, when he got in the face of Nick Sirianni, I think it was because he didn't get off the field in time because he was complaining, not because they disagreed about something. But whenever we see those cutaways on TV, we don't know why they were complaining.
You don't think that was a lack of effort that he went down there because on that catch where he didn't give that great effort on, and then he was pouting on the field and was late getting off that Nick ran down there
because he was upset. I don't think it was lack of effort. I think he just missed the ball. You know, he's allowed to miss a catch. So I think he was just missing the ball because that's more beneficial to him than the negative, because he wants to catch, and it would have been a first down, and it would have continued to drive. So all those things that people dream up, a dream up. Oh, and I don't like the term hot takes. Hot takes is nonsense because people just, we got a hot take. Hot take is social media garbage. All right. And it's not social. It's not media. And then everybody just follow the leader. And, you know, hey, we're off to see the wonderful Wizard of Oz. I mean, we just play this little game. You know, it's just, then they're drinking Kool-Aid. And now it's the Kool-Aid without the poison in it.
Okay.
Although it's a poison pill of nonsense.
You think A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts have a great relationship?
I think it's okay. I don't think it's great. I think it's okay because AJ, when he's open and he doesn't get the ball, he's pissed. See, he knew that a lot of those issues, but to his credit, he complained about the offense. Like I said, he doesn't get in people's face. He sits down there by himself. I'll never forget one time, and I got reamed out by your friend at the Eagles when I reported why AJ was pissed on the sideline. See, when I'm down there, I don't know what's on TV. So, you know, people are listening to the broadcast and watching TV at the same time. Like, what just happened? So I reported. So he came off the field really angry. It was a third down, wide open, right in front of me, wide open. And Jalen Hurts didn't see him or whatever. He didn't get him the ball. And I could see on the field, giving one of these. All right. So he came off. He was angry. To his credit, he didn't go to the quarterback. He didn't go to the coaches. He sat down and blew off steam by himself. So if he's going to read a prayer book, you know, have at it. And, you know, and go to church, have at it, whatever you want to do. But people take things and then just create their own narrative. But he's upset when he's open, as I'm sure other receivers are too, but they don't show it like he does. He's upset when he's open and the quarterback doesn't see him or doesn't find him or doesn't get him the ball. Whatever it is, that's part of the problem. So when you ask about his relationship, they're cool. I mean, Jalen's quiet with a lot of people.
You think he's liked in the locker room?
I don't think he's disliked. I think he should be more.
That's a lawyer's answer.
Well, I don't think he's disliked, but is he liked? It's kind of like in the middle. It's like, you know, it's warm toast. I mean, it's just because he's not the friendliest guy. I mean, he doesn't associate a lot with the players, his teammates, players. I mean, he does charity stuff for the Eagles, and to his credit, and he's always smiling, and he does those things, and that creates this image, which he knows that's good for him, and it is good for him, and it's good that he does those things. But when it comes to the players, I don't know that he's that good close, that friendly. What's that?
Is he a good teammate?
Again, he's okay. He's okay. The quarterback, I've seen quarterbacks that really have a great personality. Now, when you talk about 20 years ago and 30 years ago, it's different. Those guys are different than the players today. But Matthew Stafford, I'm sure, is great, but again, he's a veteran. All right. So when you look at those, Josh Allen is nothing but a good guy. I mean, that's just his nature. He's a really good guy. So he connects a lot better with his teammates and some other people. You can go down the list. I don't know about Joe Burrow, but I know those two guys come to mind. Patrick Mahomes, you can just see his personality, and he connects because he has fun with the other players. I don't know that Jalen can have enough fun off the football field. I don't know that. I'm probably going to get scolded for this, but it's just because you're not allowed to say that. But you know how that is. It's just it's a joke. But
wait. No, this is interesting because you were around the team for all these years.
Yes.
And I'm finding out right now that this guy's a teammate.
That he's what?
That he's an teammate.
Well, he's just not. I think, but people don't want to say that, and I understand it. The media doesn't want
to say that. It's
I know it's tough. It's tough. You always worry about the guy talking to you, and
is he accessible?
You know what? Is he accessible? Yeah, I guess if you walk up to him, but he's not. When he doesn't have his scheduled news conferences, he'll talk to you for a little bit. He's not, doesn't completely blow you off, but I just know that over years, kind of interesting that over years, I've said things and have been critical of people. And in the end, they know I'm just doing my job.
Yeah.
And they see me. And, if they want to talk to me about it, you can talk to me about it. I mean, I've had in baseball, the people that wanted to come after me were usually baseball players. And then in the end, we became friendly. I mean, Jason Worth, I became friendly with him, and he came after me because I called him a marginal Major League Baseball player. But that was his first year with the Phillies, and he was better than that. But when
he came over from the Cardinals, you called him marginal?
No, I think it was the Dodgers. I think the Dodgers drafted. Right. Okay, the Dodgers drafted him. Well, it was his first year. I had a dispute with Charlie Manuel, who was the manager. And on ESPN the next day, they asked me, did any of the players say anything to you? Well, there weren't, and this is how it all happened. There weren't a lot of guys in the locker room. I says, no, nobody said anything to me, but one guy stared me down in the locker room. They said, who was it? I says, Jason Worth. I said, who is he? A marginal Major League Baseball player. So he held that the whole season. At the end of the season, he poured champagne on me when they won the division, not out of happiness, out of anger. I said, and then he repeated.
It was a Dion move, like a Tim McCarver.
Well, yeah, but he said to me, marginal Major League Baseball player. I said, you waited all season to tell me that? We got to talk. And after the season was over, we sat down for about 45 minutes and we talked it out. And I've had other players, Dick Vermeil, and he remembers it, killed me. My first day in television, I was at the Maxwell Club. It was a luncheon. I was at the head table, and he buried me because he didn't like me criticizing him on how hard he worked players. And I said, they're going to bail on you after a while. You got to ease it up a little bit. And in the end, he knew, and Dick and I are really good friends now. And so this is just, Allen Iverson got mad at me like in the middle of his career here because I said, he wasn't doing the right things. And now he hugs me every time he sees me. So, but he said, I knew what you did was the right thing, and bygones are bygones, and you got to let it go. But they know if you're doing the right thing. And if I'm wrong, I'll say I'm wrong. But you can't dodge the real issues. Is Jalen Hurts a great quarterback? No. Is he a good quarterback? Yeah. Okay. Is he great? I don't think he's great. But I think with the team that they had constructed, they were good enough to win a Super Bowl. But you had a great offensive line. You had a terrific running back, and that helped in the whole process. But AJ knew at times there were issues with the offense, which was camouflaged because the Eagles won. But then he gets to the point. So I guess going back is a long answer to does he like the quarterback? They're okay. I mean, they're okay. I mean, they converse, they talk. But he knows when there's times that he's got to do a better job.
Okay, can the Eagles win without AJ with this quarterback?
That's two questions.
Hmm.
That's two questions. Can they win? If the Eagles had Josh Allen, I'm just going to say because he or Patrick Mahomes, and that's unfair because they're the two of the best
Yep.
quarterbacks in the league.
Yep.
If they had Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes or Matthew Stafford of last year, could they win without AJ Brown? Yes. Yeah, they could. Hey, Buffalo had a pretty good year, and they didn't have enough at wide receiver. Okay.
Correct.
So could they win with those guys without AJ Brown? Yes. Can the Eagles win without AJ Brown? If the quarterback is better at the things he does.
Oh, no. You're not getting away with this one. Wait a minute here.
It's two different questions.
Can the quarterback win without – wait a minute. Can Jalen Hurts win without A.J. Brown in that Philadelphia Eagle huddle?
I don't even – that's so many things combined in one. Can they win without A.J. Brown? Yes. All right. They can. But here's what they have to do. There are a lot of good wide receivers in the draft this year, a lot. And they're not first-round picks, not all of them. They're second and third-round picks. So Daniel Jeremiah, who I respect very much, said there's a lot of good wide receivers that you can get in the second and third round. So can they win without A.J. Brown? Yes, if the offensive line gets back to where they were 2 years ago, and I don't know that they can do that. Lane Johnson's older. Cam Jurgens went for stem cell. I don't know if that's going to help. He was injured a good part of last year, played hurt and didn't play. Landon Dickerson is coming back, and I said it before, it came out publicly that he was coming back. He's a tough guy. I think he's going to get, matter of fact, I'm almost positive he's going to go to the same guy overseas to get the stem cell to try to help him with all his injuries. But can you get back to an offensive line that you had? If they did, that's a big if. Then the running game's better, then the quarterback's better, and you don't necessarily need A.J. Brown, who is a terrific player.
You know what, though? See, folks, he just educated me on asking the right question. I didn't ask the right question. That's why.
Well, that happens a lot.
No. You just educated me there. I didn't ask you the right question. Can they win a Super Bowl without A.J. Brown?
Yes, if all the other things that, yes, they can.
You think Devontae's the number one?
I think he's just right there with A.J. Brown. Yes, I do. And never complains, goes over the middle and takes a hit, which A.J. will do, takes a hit. He's got the same speed as A.J., not as big, but he's got great hands. Devontae Smith is a stud, is a flat-out stud, and he's really, really good. Do you need somebody alongside him? Sure you do. Can they get somebody? They're going to find somebody, whether they're going to pick up a player, they'll draft a wide receiver. I don't know where they're going to draft them, but they need to take care of the offensive line. I don't know if they can get the right offensive lineman where they pick in the first round unless they trade up. So they really have to do some things, but can they win a Super Bowl without A.J. Brown? Yeah, but that's a big if, because it's not just A.J., it's the other things that have to fall into place. And now think about this. The NFC is going to be better. The New York Giants are going to be better with John Harbaugh. I really like their offensive coordinator, Matt Nagy, who, by the way, is my guest tomorrow night on the podcast.
Great.
So Matt used to listen to me when he was a quarterback at the University of Delaware. So he knew of me back then. Same thing with Rich Gannon. Both those guys came out of the University of Delaware.
Wait, did Matt Nagy, was he there before Flacco got there, or was he after Flacco? Because Flacco would transfer to Delaware when he went from Pitt. He went from Pitt to Delaware.
Well, he was probably, I don't know. He's probably there before just because of the age. Yeah, because of the age.
Before.
But Matt's a really sharp guy, sharp guy.
Really sharp.
And so if Jackson Dart stays healthy, the Giants are really a good team because now they have young players. They have another good draft pick. They're doing what they needed to do. When you lose for all those years, you better get better. Yeah. But they got the right coach too. So right coaches. I don't know about the other members of the staff. So with all that said, so they're going to be better. The Redskins, if Jaden Daniels stays healthy, they're going to be better. All right. I don't know about, whatever, so are they going to win the division? The Dallas Cowboys, I always think, suck anyway, but they're good enough to split with the Eagles. So they got to be better than they were last year.
I think they're going to be better.
Okay. So Detroit's going to be better. Last place schedule. Remember, New England got to the Super Bowl with a last place schedule.
I think San Francisco is going to be better.
Okay, well, they don't have a last place schedule, but they'll be
That's
better.
Right, they got a third place.
I don't know if I'm sold on the quarterback situation there, but Purdy, when he's right, he's good, but we'll see. But the Rams, if Matthew Stafford can duplicate the year, great coach in Sean McVay, great coach. So they're good. I don't know about Minnesota, but Detroit and Green Bay,
what about
two good teams. And Seattle, yeah, and Seattle. I forgot about Seattle. So all these teams, the Eagles play Seattle, but I think they play them in Philadelphia. Yep. So although Seattle won a lot of games on the road,
they play them up there. Listen, they play them there.
Oh, they play them in Seattle?
Yeah. Get this, that might be the opening game. The last two Super Bowl winners might be playing the opener on that Thursday night up in Seattle.
I don't know. Well, Seattle's got to play the opening game because of the Super Bowl team. But they got to play a West Coast team. I think the Eagles are going to Australia. There's a game in Australia this year which hasn't been announced yet. Because Jordan Mailata played rugby in Australia. So you have a built-in story and interest. So they haven't chosen a game yet for Australia. The Eagles aren't going to lose a home game, but I would think they're probably – it's so far from the East Coast, but I would think they'd probably play a West Coast team out there because it's a little closer. It's still 17 hours. Why do you
think your head coach in Philadelphia, the Nick Sirianni, why do you think he is always on the hot seat, it seems, with the record that he has? Some people think he's a caboose.
Wait. Who are those some people?
Some people think he's a caboose. Some people think he's an accurate legend. And some people think he's a Ferrari. I mean, I don't know. Looks like the organization, they move off of coaches. Look at that entire coaching staff. They don't respect coaches. They respect their process more than what they have as their coaches. How do you think they look at Nick Sirianni heading into 26?
I think coaches left to get better situations. And if I'm a coach, I'd worry that the Eagles are going to be as good a team as they were in the past few years, because when you have good years, you can't keep it forever. You just the only reason the Patriots kept it for so long is because they had Tom Brady and they had the worst division in the history of football in the AFC East. So back then they almost always got a bye, which is really a big thing. So it's different now, but it's hard to keep it together. It really is. You lose players because they go out and get more money somewhere else. You don't have as good draft picks. I don't think New England's – I'll say this right now. I don't think New England has any shot of getting back to the Super Bowl. No shot.
I think they step back too.
Yeah, no shot. They're not playing a last place schedule. They're playing
a first place one.
Yeah, okay. So that's a whole lot different. But good teams. Yeah, look at Kansas City.
Yeah, I think Seattle gets back because Seattle's in the NFC West and they got to go through the Rams and the Niners. And those two teams are good. And so you're going to be competitive. The record might not be the same, Howard.
Well, the home game's
in a good division.
But the home game's important. The home game's important in the playoffs. The bye is really important. And I don't think they're going to have the best record. And in the case of the Eagles, are they even going to win the division? I mean, I think there's a question whether they even win the division.
How many
but you asked me about Nick Sirianni. All right, let me answer that question because you bozos that bury him. Nick Sirianni is a good coach. It's not always everybody blames, not everybody, a lot of nitwits, dopes, and morons blame the coaches. They blame Patullo, and it wasn't his fault. I'm telling you right now, it was not his fault. They blame Nick Sirianni. Hey, these morons in Philadelphia on talk radio were after he was 2-2 to start the season when they won the Super Bowl. Oh, you got to get rid of him. 2-2. You got to, and they end up making a big run. They not only got to the Super Bowl, they won the Super Bowl, but they were gone. It's just because they don't like his emotion on the sideline. I don't care. He gets the players to play hard. He's creative. He's a sharp guy when it comes to the offense. But again, it comes down to players. When you're not good enough, the offensive line wasn't good enough. Thus the quarterback, thus the running back wasn't good enough. Thus the quarterback wasn't good enough. So there's a multiple list of things. But I think Nick Sirianni is a good coach. Now, is there an expiration date on a head coach? Absolutely. Absolutely. And John Harbaugh lasted longer. Mike Tomlin lasted a long time. But there's a point where you say, all right, we're just going to make a change. Even though the coach might be good.
Bill thought it was 10 years.
But that was back then.
Yeah, no cap. No salary cap.
Right. It was back then, and you could keep players, and yeah, those things changed. That was back then. But yeah. I don't think if you average the length of time that head coaches stay with a team, if you take all the head coaches, I'll bet you it's less than 4. It's probably less
than 4. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. It's less than 4. But Nick Sirianni, I think he's got 2 more years left. If 2, I would say, I shouldn't say left. If the Eagles kind of just in never land, and not good enough to take the next step, and it's going to come down to the players. But you always blame somebody else. You never blame the players because they're under contract, and you get cap hits. You can always absorb the coach. I shouldn't say 2 more years. I got to see how it goes, but it wouldn't shock me if in 2 years they don't win the division. Let's say the next 2 years, they don't go deep in the playoffs the next 2 years. There's always another hot commodity out there.
Well, with that question being said, then how many more years do you think the caboose has, Jalen Hurts, in Philadelphia? How many more years do you think? I get your.
Well, he's only got 1 more big year contract.
Well, no, I think this is the last year guaranteed dough.
Yeah, so he's good. So after this year, if he doesn't have a good year, whether it's a very good year or a good year, and you got to have somebody else to come in there. The Eagles are draft a quarterback, but they won't draft a quarterback. They draft a quarterback every year. So I don't know, but I think he's got to have a good year to get a new contract. And if he doesn't get a new contract, he won't publicly whine. The media will publicly whine. The talk shows will create another narrative to drivel over and drivel over and drivel over for days and hours.
If he doesn't get a contract extension this offseason going into this year, there's no doubt that 26 is going to dictate his future, and they'll begin the Carson Wentz process of drafting someone high the following draft, and they'll move off this guy.
Well, here's the thing you got to think about. If this is his last guaranteed year, and I don't look at the contracts like you do. Is this his last guaranteed year? You sure of that?
Yeah, this is
okay.
It, yes.
Okay. If they don't give him a contract when they can to stretch it out on the cap, which the 9th game of the season, somewhere in there. If they don't do that, that's a telltale sign. And I don't think they're going to do that. They're going to wait till the end of the year, because if they want to keep him, they can franchise him, or they can do what
they can kick the can down the road.
What Indy's going to do, and I think they put the transition tag on Daniel Jones.
Oh, they did. Okay, so
I'm not sure. I think they did.
That sounds right. That means teams would have to give them 2-1 if you come in with a respected offer to him.
Yeah, so
Indianapolis would have to get.
Yeah, but you don't have to. I don't think you have to sign him with the transition tag, right?
No, not yet. No. You can put that transition tag on him, and then give him and give him, I think it would be 32 million.
Yeah, and he wouldn't be happy with that.
1 year guaranteed. I think that's what it would be.
But that's what. So if they don't give it to him by the time that you have to give somebody an extension of the contract to kick the money down the road. I think it'll be interesting at the end of the year to see what happens. But I don't think they're going to give him a long-term contract this year unless he's completely lights out.
No way. No
Yeah.
way. Let me ask you this about your interview with Charles Barkley. What makes him so polarizing, in your opinion?
There's always one or two situations that, and people don't let him. He's one of the nicest people when he's out in public, and I've been out in public, obviously, with him a lot. He is so genuinely nice to people. It's unbelievable. But you have a couple situations. One in Houston where a guy kept on bothering him for an autograph. And he always gives autographs. But there was a point where, enough was enough. And he threw him out the door. And, he said, well, I just wish I was on the 20th floor.
He had one in Orlando too when my show was down there in Florida. He did one in Florida too. He threw a guy through a window.
And then he lost, and he was so sorry that he did it. I think it was in Denver, where they said he spit on a little girl. He didn't spit on a little girl. Some guy used the N-word, and he was frustrated, and he lost control, and he spit at the guy, and nobody even knows whether it hit the little girl. But they made an issue of it, and I talked to him that night. They were on the road, and he said, I'm so sorry. I mean, he made a mistake. But people focus on things that really are like minute in the story of his career. He's always been great to the media. He's always been great to people. He's a great player. That's not everything. LeBron's a great player, but he's so insecure. Or excuse me, LaFraud's a great player, but he's so insecure. But it's just
he's one of only 5 players, I think, Howard, has got 20,000 scores and also
10,000
rebounds.
Yeah, right.
He's one of those only 5 guys that have ever done that.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody else has gotten into that class, but he was for a while. He was one of the original 50 greatest players in the NBA. So I don't know that he's polarizing anymore. I think he says things and people, it's like that happens with me. I can't tell you how many people, and I hear it from other people, and they say, I don't really like that guy. Well, why don't you like the guy? I don't know. I don't like what he says. They have no idea unless they talk to me, unless they see me. I always talk to, it happens today. Every place I go, somebody will stop me. Hey, I loved listening to you, blah, blah, blah. I'm doing podcasts now. But I said, and I always ask their name, always talk to them, and always am nice to them. But that's just the way. It's easier to be nice than be a jerk. And Charles does that because that's who he is. One situation, we were out one night at a restaurant, just hanging out, and we're just BSing at the bar. I don't drink, and he'll have probably beer once in a while. He drinks beer, no big deal. It's not nothing wrong with it. So there was just a few of us. By the end of the night, there was 16 people around us, and he paid for everybody. Paid for everybody. His tips when he goes to the casino, mind-boggling. Even if he's losing, mind-boggling, because he appreciates people. And anybody that says he's polarizing really doesn't know the Charles Barkley that a lot of people got to know, and certainly the Charles Barkley that I got to know.
Polarizing to me means truthful to yourself.
Yeah.
That's my definition. And here, Howard, to you, I wonder how long it took you, or did you do this right at the beginning of your career when you were getting going? How many times I run into guys who are on the air and they think they have to be that same guy on the air, that when you run into them, they're the same dude on the air. Well, to me,
that guy you have on tomorrow. Who's that? I'm sorry.
To me, I think the guy that you are at home and the guy that you are in life, like you said, going out to bars, that guy needs to be the guy in the air.
Hey, if somebody comes up to me and they disagree with me about something I've said or something I say, I'll debate with them. And right there and then I'll tell them, I said, you have no clue. You have no clue. You're dope. You have no clue. And then I'll explain why. but it's not like I'm not nice to them. I just express myself, and I did that on the air. I didn't do that at the beginning because I was concerned when I first started doing talk radio. I was doing radio before that, but started doing talk radio. And the program director said to me, he says, "You don't have to agree with everybody." I said, "Okay. You don't have to agree with everybody just to be nice." And then I said, "You're right. There's people that would call the talk show and say, well, I mean, why would I not challenge that guy over something so stupid?" And I realized that, and I got more comfortable with doing that. Now, it's created a lot of good things for me, but there's going to be people that don't like what I say, love me or hate me, but got to respect me. I don't just put, if I put something on social media, it's because I've sourced it out. It's not because I just put it there if it's other than an opinion, but even opinions, I check with people about a lot of things. And that's not the way it is anymore. So
why were you getting into a back and forth then with, she's worked here with us at JAKIB too. What's her name? Devin over at WIP. You guys went back and forth.
I never mentioned her name.
The new sideline.
I never mentioned her name. I just mentioned.
Oh my God! She just assumed you.
I never mentioned her name, but she knew. But she knew. I don't want to get into this. That was such a terrible, terrible story. A terrible sourced story.
Well, it was a terrible website. That thing, that Crossing Broad.
Well, but she didn't. She did it on her social media.
Yeah,
I guess. But I didn't want. My point was, I see reports. Reports is the wrong word to use for it. I see items on social media that are incorrect, and I really I made a point. I said there's so much BS and nonsense on social media, and here's the latest: that Bryce Harper is going to talk to Dave Dombrowski about bringing Reese Hoskins back, which was so foolish. Absolutely. And I laid out step by step. Number one, Bryce Harper's not moving off of first base. That's
absolutely not.
Number two, Reese Hoskins is not a DH on the Phillies. And the problem is because they have because they have so many DHs. They got Schwarber, who's the DH. Realmuto is going to DH sometimes. Harper is going to DH sometimes. They're going to have so many guys to DH. And he's not, and Hoskins is not going to the outfield. It was so wrong. But again, that was the latest story that I focused on a lot of things. And then people jump on
things all the time, though.
Well, I'm not going to get into some people try to create stories that just aren't there. And it's really, back and forth. I didn't have a back and forth. I mentioned it, and then I reiterated. I didn't go back and forth. Then when Bryce Harper was on the radio, and they asked him a question about Reese Hoskins, absolutely not. I'd never told. He doesn't fit here. So he acknowledges something that was put out there that I said was wrong. So I said, here's Bryce Harper, and I put his quote in there that I didn't have a back and forth. I didn't want to have a back and forth because you never win in certain cases. I didn't want to win. I just wanted to point out what's factual and what's not factual. And that to say that was a source story is ridiculous.
To me, what you're doing. See, this is the stuff that you and I know about recycling when you're talking about doing shows and you disagree with somebody that you work with and you have a different take than them. I don't have a problem with that whatsoever. And I think that's been a lost back and forth. Hey, if you had a problem with something I said, you think Nick Sirianni is a really good coach. I think he's a doorman. Okay, so you and I disagree. I do. I think he's a doorman.
Yeah, but he's a doorman and get big tips too.
All I know is I've never seen a coach have a bodyguard on the sidelines because he can't control himself. I mean, Big Dom's there for I mean, what's Big Dom's job? Was he offensive coordinator? Was he like the offensive watchdog?
Well, the reason they gave him a title is so the NFL couldn't throw him off the but that's why. But that's not here nor there. Those are opinions.
Yeah,
I challenge something that was sourced as a fact.
Yeah,
as a fact, and I knew it wasn't fact. And I'll challenge anybody, and I've done that before. But when it's not a woman, nobody cares about it. They might have a little chirp here and there, but it's not. I'm not going after women. I'm going after what was an incorrect bullshit story.
Bullshit. After a person, they're not going after a woman.
No, right.
Right. I mean, Howard, you don't give a shit if she's a woman or a dude.
No, I don't care.
Absolutely. I got two last ones here for you. All right. So, I was.
See, now you'll get me in trouble, and I didn't.
You're not in trouble.
I didn't criticize her. I criticized the story.
Get this: if you're in trouble because of this, they need to lighten up a little bit here.
Yeah.
So I had a conversation with Bobby Valentine about this thing with Harper and Dombrowski, and he says,
"I like Bobby. I like Bobby, by the way.
You should get him on. He's a really great interview. You should get him on.
Great guy. Yeah. Matter of fact, when I started doing more baseball,
I'll send you his number. He's my cousin.
Okay. Oh, really?
Yeah. He's my cousin.
Yeah.
All right. So here, so I asked him, I go, what'd you make of that thing? He goes, I really didn't think Dombrowski threw anything at him that was over the line. He had 27 home runs. They needed a little more out of him when it came to, him in producing with runners in scoring position. And Bryce Harper, he thought got his panties in a bind a little bit. And he didn't really think Dave went over the line. Or do you think Dave went over the line by just saying we need more out of the guy?
No, he didn't say we needed more. They were asking about things that happened in a season that was not a successful season, the way it ended. And he started, he mentioned a few things, and he says, Bryce Harper is an all-star. He said he's an all-star, very good player, but he didn't have an elite season. Now, when you look at his numbers, 261, 75 RBIs, 27 home runs. Is that an elite season? No. Okay, so he didn't say anything that wasn't true.
No.
So he didn't criticize him, but Bryce wants to make the Hall of Fame, and he doesn't want any kind of criticism.
No shot.
I think he's got a shot because he'll lobby for it. And nowadays, the people that get in the Hall of Fame,
when people talk about those numbers, there's nothing.
When people talk about Chase Utley being a Hall of Famer, that's a joke.
There's nothing special about his numbers.
No, Chase Utley?
No.
Bryce Harper. No, he won't have 400 home runs by the end of the year, and that doesn't get you in. It's amazing. I had Brett Boone on.
No, if he had a glove and he was a great Golden Glove like fielder, there's a conversation for that, but he's not.
Wait a minute. You look at Brett Boone and Chase Utley's numbers are almost identical. And Brett Boone was in the major leagues for 2 less years. What's not identical is Brett Boone had 4 Gold Gloves. Chase Utley was at best an average second baseman.
Yeah.
So when people talk about, but my point is people are talking about him in the Hall of Fame. Jeff Kent, if you compare Chase Utley to Jeff Kent, who took forever to get in the Hall of Fame, numbers dwarf Chase Utley. And it took him forever to get in there. But my point is people get in the Hall of Fame just because Scott Rowland was a really terrific player. Is he a Hall of Famer by the numbers? No. Great defensive third baseman, not a Hall of Famer by the numbers, but whatever. People get in because they need people.
Think Andrew Jones was?
Brett Boone loved Andrew Jones.
He's a hell of a defensive center fielder, and he hit over 430 homers.
Great player. So there's some really good players. I think Dale Murphy should be a Hall of Famer.
Two-time National League MVP.
Yeah, it's just I think
positions too. He was a catcher at first, and then switched the position.
Yep, Dale Murphy was a really terrific ball, but you have guys that didn't get in. I mean, look at.
You think Mattingly is?
Yeah, I do. And he doesn't have the great numbers, but he has good numbers. If you look at Dave Parker's numbers,
tremendous
compared to Bryce Harper. Now, basically, remember they were right fielders for quite a while, and that's what I look at. He had a great arm, I think he won 3 batting titles. I think Dave
He
Parker
did, and an MVP.
Yeah, and an MVP. And Bryce Harper's won a couple MVPs.
Yep.
Back then, it was a little tougher because it wasn't just the popularity contest. But Bryce Harper had a couple of really good years. There's no question. But he's only driven in 100 runs twice in his career. Only twice. Once with Washington and once with Philadelphia. So, so when you look at that, but you look how long it took Dave Parker to get into the Hall of Fame.
Well, there's four Gold Gloves around that guy too.
Yeah, it's really good. So when you start comparing and say Jimmy Rollins is more of a Hall of Famer than Chase Utley is. Chase Utley had probably 6 really good years,
Yep.
6 really good years, and that's it. But Bryce Harper will lobby for it, and he goes on all the shows that he needs to go on. He's a really good player, not as good as he was. But back to your original question that you asked Bobby Valentine. Was Dave Dombrowski out of line? No, he was honest. And I don't think Bryce Harper should have been upset with that. Just suck it up. You didn't have an elite year. And, you hope you have a better year this year. He's got to have 30-some home runs, maybe hit 275 to 280, have 100 RBIs, and then you can say it's an elite season.
I don't know if he's got that kind of protection in that lineup right now. For him,
well, they'll probably move Schwarber behind him.
That's what now. If you're doing that and off the leadoff spot and putting him,
he hit second last year. It's just
if you put him instead of at the top and you put him behind Harper, that helps Harper for sure. Because I don't think Harper had any help behind him.
Yeah, but so what? It's just you're still getting pitches. You still struck out. You still, put the ball in play. Too many people worry about home runs, and he's not the only one. So I get it.
I thought it was more runners in scoring position with him a year ago. That was
Well, the Phillies, the whole team is not good with runners in scoring.
Yeah.
Alec Boehm is the best player on that team with runners in scoring position. I don't know about the numbers.
One last one here. Does Daryl Morey need to be fired?
2 years ago. What are you waiting so long for? He is the biggest con man and fraud maybe in the history of the NBA. He is such a fraud. There's not one trade that he made that was a good one. Tell me one trade he made that was a good one. One pick that he made. He didn't draft a Maxey. That was Elton Brand, because he hadn't been there for more than like 7 to 10 days. And he admitted that wasn't my pick. That was Elton Brand.
I can't think of one. Even in Houston. I can't think of one.
No.
I'm not even sure he was the GM when they got Harden coming over from OKC. I'm not sure he was in the
Yeah, he was, but Houston was the only team that had cap room for Harden.
Okay.
That's why he ended up getting
it.
I'm talking about the Sixers. I don't care about it.
Nugget.
Yeah, right. So back then, they were the only team, and he was going to be traded, and they were the only team that could fit him in to their cap and offer him what they had to offer him. But yeah, I'm not going to throw him a bone for that. But look at the Sixers. What has he done?
Nothing.
What has he done? This team's worse than when he came here. Worse. I think they made a mistake drafting McCain, not because doesn't have talent, but because he didn't fit in their guard rotation. You don't draft a guy in the first round that pretty much always going to be a bench player, and they're two short guards. You can't have Maxey and him on the floor at the same time. So in reality, but Charles said if OKC makes that trade, they don't make bad trades. So he got beat on this trade too.
Yeah.
He traded a guy, I forget who it was. First round pick. He played two months with the Sixers and then was gone. I forget who it was. It was so irrelevant. He makes terrible trades.
Terrible. I mean, like you said, I can't, for a guy to
should he be fired? The answer is yes. But the owner only cares about his football team. As long as he's making money with his basketball team. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, and he cares about staying off that Epstein list too.
I'm going to say, I don't know that I want to say this.
Say it.
No, I'm just going to, when you're talking about the Sixers, and I looked up some numbers. Tyrese Maxey is the best player on the Sixers. In my opinion, No question. He's better than Embiid because Embiid shot. He's done. He's never going to be healthy. Done.
Man.
Done.
Brutal.
All right. Maxey listens to the coach, plays hard, plays for his teammates. He's a great, great guy. All right. So now the Sixers, because they got nothing else to talk about, he broke Allen Iverson's record for 3-point shots. He takes 200 more 3-point shots a year. He did it in 6 years. Iverson played 6 years. Here's the biggest comparison. Michael Jordan's the best player in the history of the NBA. No question. No, anybody that questions that is an idiot. Tyrese Maxey in 6 years has over 100 more 3-point shots made than Michael Jordan. As of last week, 571 to 887. Michael Jordan played, 15 or 16 years. Maxey's played 6 years, and already he has 100. So what does that tell you about 3-point shots? That's all anybody takes anymore.
That's all. That's what the league is
right
now.
Okay, that's it. So for the Sixers to celebrate that and win the game, hey, it's nice. But is he better than Allen Iverson? No, he's a terrific player, but he's not better than Allen.
I got this one here for you. You bring this up. So Iverson, Wilt, Malone, who would be that fourth guy on the Mount Rushmore? Or maybe you have 3 different ones. I'm talking best Sixers of all time. You got Jeff Walker, you got Barkley.
Wait a minute. Give me your
okay, I got 3 right now. I got Iverson.
Yep.
I got Wilt.
Not at the top. Wilt's at the top.
Okay, and I've got
Iverson.
I got Moses Malone there.
Wilt, Iverson, Moses, and Charles, right?
I would think the 4th one would be Charles, but I was wondering if you thought it would be Dr. J.
Wow.
Or Chad
I might put Doc because he won a championship.
Yeah, 83.
I might put Doc ahead of Iverson.
Oh, wow.
Well, because wait a minute, he changed the direction of the franchise. Remember when Pat Williams, give Pat a lot of credit because he had to go through a lot of hoops because it was an ABA NBA trade, knowing they were going to merge. Okay, and Julius Erving changed the mentality here in Philadelphia. He changed the mentality. And I remember I had that story too, and Pat Williams asked me not to say anything. And I said,
they were in the finals in 80, and if you remember right, that's the game Magic went for 45-14 and 8.
I know.
When he played in that game.
And they won a in the finals twice, won a championship. So I'd put Julius, I would take Iverson out and swing him down below Charles and put Julius Erving up there. Really, when you really break it down.
What a great history.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
not anymore.
History hasn't been
how
about this, Howard? Too bad the history hasn't been revised in the last 25 years in Philly.
Daryl Morey. Hey, I'm telling you, my best halftime entertainment is taking Daryl Morey out in handcuffs for stealing money. That would be my best halftime entertainment.
Oh my God. Hey, by the way, before I get you go,
when you think about that, and I asked Charles this question too. Who would you rather have? All these people that just fall over how great Embiid is. He would have been great, but you can't do woulda, coulda, shoulda. Remember, he missed his first 2. I think he missed the first 2 years in the NBA after he was drafted.
Moses would have ruined that dude.
Moses was Charles said, without question, Moses was a better player.
Oh my God, dude, Akeem would kill that guy.
I know. It's a joke.
I mean, Akeem could shoot perimeter, free throws. He was the top defender. He ran the floor. You think Embiid could keep up with Olajuwon running up and down the floor like that?
I don't know if he's going to play. I don't know if he's going to play against Wemby tonight. He'll probably take the night off. He's got shin soreness. What NBA player doesn't have shin soreness?
You mean he has heart soreness? That's what he has. By the way, Howard, before we promote the show here, I want to just make sure I get this one quote right. Xander, make sure Jalen Hurts is a bad teammate. I want to make sure we get that.
I didn't say that.
Wait. I want to get
I didn't say that. Don't put no.
Wait, no. I want to get it right then. You said Jalen Hurts was what?
He's an average teammate. That's basically what
he's
he
an
is.
Okay.
As a teammate.
Jalen Hurts is an average teammate.
Yeah, you're going
You
to
okay
post
with
that.
that?
I don't even know. No, I'm not okay with that. You said, is he?
better let
Hold
me
it.
know.
Your question was, is he a good teammate? I said he's not like other quarterbacks that I've seen.
No.
With the
That's
no, I did say that.
That's not a Howard Eskin answer.
But he's not like other quarterbacks. Could he be better? Yeah, I think he could be better.
Jalen Hurts could be a better teammate.
You're not gonna put it out there.
Wait, no, I'm not. I would never do that without you. Hold on.
Okay.
Jalen Hurts could be a better teammate.
I think he could be, yeah.
Okay.
It's not. It wouldn't be my first thing that I would say about Jalen. I think he's got to be better at going through the progressions and being a quarterback more than anything else. Because once you are a stud on the field, then everything else kind of falls into place.
Who says he's a stud? I think he's a caboose.
I said once he's a stud.
Understood.
I didn't say he was a stud. I said once he's a stud.
Per Howard Eskin, Jalen Hurts could be a better teammate. You okay with that?
Yeah, I guess so. I'm gonna get shit anyway. So
hey, listen. I want. Who do you have coming up here? By the way, do me if I'm gonna. As soon as I take a timeout, I am gonna send you that, Bob. I want you. You should talk to Bobby V.
Yeah, you know what? I've conversed with Bucky Dent. My problem is I don't know if people remember Bucky Dent in today's world. And Bucky's a really sharp guy. Bucky's agreed to come on at some point, but I wonder. Last time he played was '84. So I don't know.
Yeah, but he had one of the most iconic home runs.
I know.
I also have Goose Gossage if you ever wanted his ass there.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah, I bet he is. But Bobby Valentine, I knew Bobby. Bobby's a really good guy.
And he is great in the meaty here. I'm sending it right now to you, so you'll be able to.
Okay. All right.
What do you got coming up?
Matt Nagy tomorrow night. Today's Tuesday. Tomorrow, Wednesday. The new offensive coordinator for the New York Giants. And really what I want to talk to him about is, quarterbacks, some complain that they've had too many offensive coordinators. What does an offensive coordinator, some, very few, what does an offensive coordinator need to do when he goes to a team with a quarterback? I want to know what he was great with Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Another coach under
He won also with Mitchell Trubisky too. If you remember, they won 2 division titles up there, and he got Coach of the Year up there when he was in Chicago.
Yeah, and then he got fired because the fans got all over his rear end.
I think that was, I think they overreacted up there a little bit.
Well, that was the double doink.
Did a nice job with Mitchell.
That was the double doink, right?
He
lost the play with a double doink.
By the way, I sent you his email as well.
Oh, okay.
So you got that there too.
But yeah, so
by the way, I got to thank you for my relationship with Doug Peterson. I mean,
Doug's a great guy.
Anytime, he's like, yeah.
Yeah,
no.
Doug's a great guy.
I told him, I said, I go, he knows former head coaches of the Eagles, and he knows the number one mob hitman in Philadelphia. How do you not like this guy? By the way, did you like the picture I sent you, Angelo? Angelo said, please burn that.
Wait a minute. The number one hit guy.
Well, the mafia guy, the guy who now sells.
Well, wait a minute. That's alleged, according to Joey Merlino.
Oh, alleged.
That's alleged.
But he sells hot dogs now.
He sells cheesesteaks.
Howard, it is always great. Oh, and by the way, any comment you want me to throw to Angelo tomorrow? He's on at 3:30.
Happy Valentine's Day.
All right.
Because I know he's got a heart.
By the way, Saturdays, right? You're also on there too.
Saturdays at 8 a.m.
Right?
Yeah. Saturdays at 8 a.m.
Okay, one more time here. Jalen Hurts could be a better teammate.
Yeah, all things considered, I think all things considered, I think that's important. All things considered, I think he could be, see that a better teammate is not the right way. Better connected with his,
connected with his team.
Yeah, better connected with his team. What's the difference? It's just, Hey, listen, if he wins a Super Bowl, nobody gives a damn. That's what
Nobody
it comes
gives.
down.
You're right. Nobody gives a shit if the
Yeah,
guy.
if he wins a Super Bowl, nobody gives a damn. You know, that's not some of the best things I've said. You just want to create shit. So
No, I'm not me. I'm just not me. I'm a listener here. I'm an observer. That's what I am. I just observe things. I'm not. I just sit here and you know me. I can make a anthill
hey,
into a.
just get to the Super Bowl and people will be happy. Just get to the Super Bowl and people will be happy.
Absolutely.
That's what it comes down to.
My friend, shalom. I will see you. Thank you so much for everything. As always, you are wonderful to me. And I will convey your message to Angelo Cataldi. I will tell him.
Happy Valentine's Day.
He said, Happy Valentine's Day. Thank you so